Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoy any chess content here on YouTube, then you're obviously familiar with the name Eric Rosen. You're probably also familiar with the name GothamChess or Levy Rosman. I really don't like that guy, but I tend to feature him in my videos quite a bit. He's funny. He's got a funny chess style. Jokes aside, you've watched myself and Eric play many games against each other online, probably 700 or 800 at this point. However, few people know that we've played 2 games over the board against each other over the years. In this video, I'm going to show you the first classical chess game we ever played against each other in the year 2012. We also played one, I think, in 2016 in Chicago, but I don't have that game, and it's nowhere in any database, but this one is. And the setting is in Rockville, Maryland, in a hotel along a highway, because that's basically like 70% of America. And it's the 4th round of the first ever Washington International, which was won by a very strong grandmaster, Gotham. Both Eric and I are 1.5 points out of 4. 10 years ago, maybe about 9.5 years. Eric is an FM rated 2,328. I'm a random dude rated 2,194. Here we go. This is, Eric plays the move c4. Now, the interesting thing, back in the day, my repertoire was e4, c6, so nothing surprising, I played the Caro-Kann. But against d4, I also played the Slav defense. So I played a lot of c6 stuff. So Eric played c4 against me, and here's why. c4 is kind of a pain for people who play c6 setups, because if I still try to play for c6, and I try to play into a Caro-Kann or I try to play into a Slav, he can use this move order. And you see, folks, Eric was a genius even 10 years ago, right? That really never went away. He uses this move order, which nowadays is very trendy, and delays the move d4. This move order is a super pain in the butt for people who play Slavs, because if you take on c4, the bishop is still defending, but white can just delay the move d4 completely. And now black is forced into a decision. Should black play a random pawn move like g6, white goes d4, and now black is playing a Schlechter Slav, which is just trash. It's just, I mean, it's fine, but it's not very good. It's very passive. And if black develops the light squared bishop, then in many variations, yeah, exactly. I already put the arrow here, actually, preparing for this video. Queen b3, queen b7, and that's an issue. So what did I do? I played e6. This move order by white does not scare people who play the move e6, because now you're just in a semi-Slav. So black is going to play a semi-Slav. Black doesn't care. Here's the only issue in the year 2012. I didn't know the semi-Slav. Not only did I not know the semi-Slav for white, I did not know the semi-Slav for black. So in my first time ever, I decided to play this system, the semi-Slav defense. This is one of the most theoretically complex systems that exists, although because Eric already played e3 on move 3, we are playing a Miran. So we're playing a Miran semi-Slav and not the critical main line, which is bishop g5, because bishops can't jump over pawns. I play knight d7, and now it's Eric's turn to think. So Eric completely move orders me out of any opening I know. Okay, it's move 5, move 6, and even though I'm 2194, I don't know the opening whatsoever. So yeah, you shouldn't, don't fret if you don't know your openings, because neither did I. Eric plays queen c2. This is a very useful move. I mean, it happens quite often. You free up this for the rook in the future. The queen obviously stares this way. Just a generally good move. Also can team up with the bishop if it ever goes there. I develop my bishop, and Eric very clearly is going to put his bishop on b2. Now, here, according to theory, there is one move that equalizes, and it's e5. Apparently, white should delay putting the queen on c2 because black can play the move e5. I know this nowadays because it's better to obviously have the queen on d1 so that e5 is not possible if white were to take. But white moved the queen, so e5 is completely possible. And I know that, again, now. I didn't know any of this back in the day. None of it. Zero. So I was just trying to play natural moves in the opening, so I played the move rook e8. This move can't lose. So I played it, right? Rook goes to e8. I'm ready maybe in the future to play e5. Eric plays bishop e2, and now I'm like, maybe I don't want to open up the position right away, so let me fianchetto my bishop. And after 10 moves, we have a very, very common setup by both players. In fact, you might have seen one of my games against people this year, like I played Qibiao Wang. I played, or last year, I guess, Norm Events. Yeah, last year. January, was it? Maybe. I don't know. Chris, and I played this against Chris Yu with white. There's a lot of different ways to put the rooks here. So the best ways for white to put the rooks are rook a d1 and rook fe1. That's what I know now. I had no idea back in the day. And actually for black to do the same thing. This queen should go to e7, and then, at some point I'll play c5. Eric plays rook e1. I'm completely on my own in a position with full tension, right? Every piece is still on the board. So you don't... I kind of was playing, I don't know, cat and mouse a little bit. I was like, all right, well, he's not doing anything, so I'm just going to bring my rook as well. Eric brings his rook, and now I'm like, well, I can play e5 and open the position. I can play c5 and open the position, but he hasn't done anything, so let me just, I'm gonna let him do it. You do it. You do it. You play e4, right? It was a little bit of a respect that I had for Eric Rosen. Trust me, that respect is long gone. Long gone. No, I'm just kidding. But, I was a lower-rated player, so I'm playing a strong player who's kind of tricked me in the opening. I'm like, I don't know if I want to open things up, right? So I play queen c7, and now Eric plays the absolutely thunderous and terrifying move h3. I'm just kidding. That move is not terrifying. I mean, h3 is just sort of a waiting move. Obviously, it prevents knight g4 and gets this pawn out of my sight. Oh, that's not what I played. But it doesn't really accomplish much. So what do I do? All right, ball is back in my court, a6. a6 actually has a point. This is just intended to build up on the queen side. Like, at some point, I'm going to play one of these moves. He can again play e4, which is very much what you should be doing in this position. But here Eric plays queen b1, and at this point, I'm just feeling mildly disrespected. What is he doing? Like, honestly, what does he do? What are these h3 queen b1 moves? He's waiting for me to open up the position. I'm like, no, I'm not going to open up the position. I'm going to put my rooks on the center lines just like yours. I decided I didn't actually like where this rook was, so I decided to slide it over. Sometimes the queen goes here and goes to a1, and then teams up with the bishop, so it's like kind of common. Eric plays one more waiting move, and finally I'm done waiting. I know nowadays that before you play c5, it's actually better to take on c4. So you take on c4, and either the bishop has to move again, or this and c5, and there's a big battle ahead. I decide it's time to play the move c5. I have made as many waiting moves as possible, so it is time to play the move c5 and open things up. Eric takes, I take, and again, here he can explode the middle of the board with the move e4. I mean, e4, all the center pawns are going to collapse. We might get takes, 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 and knight f6. Here's the problem. It's probably just a draw. I mean, we have the exact same pieces and exact same pawns. I mean, no one's winning this position. As you can see, the eval bar is ready to go home. So am I. Actually, I'm home already. So this doesn't make any sense. Maybe Eric doesn't want to explode the center in this way. You also don't want to take c5 because there's no reason to give black two center pawns. Well, not really, but they both control the center. So that's not very good. So Eric thinks about the position here and overthinks, which is a thing that sometimes happens when you're kind of too focused on keeping the tension. He slides the bishop back to c2. Now that move is weird because I don't know what white wants. So now black has a free turn basically, and I decide to play h6, which gets my pawn out of the way as well. He now can go bishop f5 to target my knight. He can continue with the plan of queen a1. Eric plays the move rook c1. And this shows me that he is ready to clear out the c-file, so I slide my queen out of danger. You know why I did this, by the way? I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know what I was thinking 10 years ago, but I think because I saw him do it and his rating is higher than mine, that I could do it too. All right, I'm guilty of the same stuff you're guilty of. All right, queen b8 I don't think is absolutely necessary at all. Eric plays rook e d1, and again, notice how he slid his rooks over? That means that he is intending to attack on this side of the board. He made my next move very simple because he wants to open the position for his rooks. Well, I'm going to shut the door. And after c4, the game completely changes flavor, shape, form, texture, whatever you want to use. c4 is a very important move. Why? Well, if the pawns are traded, right, the pawn blocks his rook. Okay, then my next move, I'm going to play b5. So I'm going to lock down the queen side completely. His pieces are really suffocating to get out, right? Sorry, I keep clicking squares. Now, he could take the center, absolutely. And it's going to get very messy. I mean, I can play bishop f4, for example. Who even guards the rook? Nobody. The rook is trapped. Like, literally, the rook is trapped. I mean, if you play knight d2, okay, congrats. You managed to literally make the ugliest formation of pieces ever. So that's not possible, right? So that's the issue with the move c4 for white. And oftentimes in chess, it gets bad to worse very quickly. So Eric plays a4, which is a good move, preventing me from playing b5, and now I prepare the move b5 by playing bishop a8. I was very happy with this move. Now, apparently here, the computer says that white has to play bishop a1 to play the move b4. Like to get the queen into the game with either b4 or takes on, right? So like if I play b5, we have takes, and the queen can activate like this. Here's what the computer suggests after bishop a1. A draw. The computer thinks that we should repeat moves and make a draw. Eric being 134 points higher than me. Wait, 130... Yeah, 134. Okay, just making sure my math is right. He doesn't want that. Eric doesn't want that at all. So he's trying to keep the tension. He plays the move knight e2, and now black is much better. Black is much better because Eric is basically admitting to the fact that I have a queenside expansion, and he is not intending to stop it. He's letting me just push. He's like, go ahead and do your worst. And I'm like, okay, b5. Queen out to a2. All right, and now I am ready to transfer my rooks over to the queen side as well, so I slide my rook over to c8 because it's obviously far more useful than it is on the d file. Eric plays bishop f5. Now, bishop f5 is not a direct attack. I think it's more intending to kind of like make it tangled for me. I could slide out of the pin, but I'm a guy who likes to solve my problems immediately with the move g6. I'm like, I don't really care if I'm weakening my king, Eric. I mean, you obviously went to f5 to take on d7, right? So do it. Eric goes bishop b1. What? I mean, Eric drove his car to the nearest restaurant, got there and decided he didn't want the food and just went all the way back. What? There's no way that can be good. Now, at this point, I begin a series of suspicious moves. Suspicious in the sense that I have a very clear plan forward here. I shouldn't take on b3. I should play b4 with the intention to play the move c3. That is what I should be doing. For example, I mean, just, you know, this is the worst bishop in the world on a1. That is what I'm trying to do, right? I'm playing b4 in order to play the move c3. So he should obviously take on c4. And I suppose what I just never saw here, like something that I overlooked, was that after takes on c4, rook takes c4, if I play bishop d5 pinning the rook to the queen, then he just takes my rook, and I thought the advantage was gone. I missed, I think, the move b3. Rook takes c8. B takes a2, rook takes b8, rook takes b8, and now there are two hanging bishops. So at the end of the day, I'm up a piece, and you know, he's higher rated, but I'm gonna win. Yeah, I don't know what I really overlooked. I mean, b4 looks incredibly juicy to play. I decided to play bishop c6, which in hindsight, I don't understand. I mean, the bishop's not, like, what? I don't know. Sometimes I look at my old games, I want to vomit. I want to vomit, like, separate of looking at the games, though. You know, digestive problems. Yeah, I mean, bishop c6 is, what am I doing? So now I let Eric liquidate one set of pawns. I mean, I should have played b4. And he plays queen a5. Now here, again, I have the move b4, and this actually leads to a really, really incredible sequence, which I obviously completely missed because I'm not as good. I would have probably not even seen this nowadays. b4 forces b takes c4. And now, after this, there is an absolutely amazing sequence. It's -4 if and only if I find bishop takes knight, forcing his rook to take my rook, right? Otherwise, right? And here, it looks like there's nothing. I mean, what is my next move? This is my next move, queen b7. And it's not just this. I probably saw this and was like, well, I mean, he just goes here. His queen is trapped. Oops. I make the little getaway from my rook, and every square on the 5th rank is covered. By the way, remember the move g6 that he forced me to play like 5 moves ago? Yeah, well, thanks to that move, I'm trapping his queen. So a while ago, he played bishop f5 to force me to play the move g6, but that actually helps me now. Now, here was my last chance to play the move b4. Here I play one of these, like if I could go back like 10 years, you know they say if you could go back in time and give yourself advice, like what would you do? If I could go back to 2012, and give myself advice, I would slap me across the face for playing the next move. In a position where I am much better, I decide to trade queens. What am I doing? I mean, what am I doing? Now, obviously, I'm still better. You could see it's -1. But what am I doing? This queen is literally the only good thing that white has, except his haircut. Eric does have a very nice haircut. Very nice eyebrows, too. But I wasn't looking at that when I was playing him. I mean, I'm like, why am I trading queens? And you know what the craziest thing is? He just goes away, and it's actually still fine, right? Now, finally, I come up with the move b4. Of course, at this point, b4 is not as powerful. Knight b6 followed by b4 is quite powerful as well. I decide to play b4, and we get takes, and rook takes c4. So now, I guess this was my intention the entire time. My intention was to take on f3 and win back the pawn. So play, this whole trade, and actually I'm taking on f3. Again, if we go back a couple of moves, I just showed you why that wasn't necessary. I did not have to bring the queen here. I could have gone for this sequence of moves where I have queen b7, rook a8 at the end. I missed it because I'm trash, but that's okay. And we have a big trade and this position, and Eric plays queen f1, protecting his king and the pawn, and also defending this. Now, black is still much better. Black is much better in this position for a couple of reasons. First of all, the quality of the activity of the pieces, right? All my pieces are active and really powerful. This knight can jump into the position, right? This bishop stares down the king. Come on, let's not even compare the quality of the queens. Also, my rook sees an entire open file. This bishop is, living in a windowless apartment. So the other thing I have is a passed pawn. Like, my pawn is it can just walk, right? It can just go down. His can't. My knight can go here and remove the blockade of the pawn as well. So I have a lot more space. Everything is good for me, right? So what do you do in a position where you're better? Well, you try to build behind where you're better, right? You try to go this way. Eric plays bishop d3. That prevents the move knight c4, but it does not prevent the move knight a4. Now, in this position, he should move his bishop. It's a little hard to do that, though. For example, if you play the move bishop c1 and let me go b3, that looks terrifying. Apparently, it's not. Apparently, it's not terrifying to allow all of this. White can allow the pawn to get to b2, and supposedly, according to Stockfish, I can't get through. That's pretty difficult to do. Also, it's move 33, so keep in mind that we're both low on time. We're probably both nearing move 40 in the game, which is a very common place where, both players don't have a tremendous amount of time anymore. So Eric plays the very natural defensive move rook b1, intending to meet knight takes b2 with rook takes b2. Now, you might have noticed that the eval bar completely plummeted. That's actually because rook b1 loses. It's not the right way to play defense here. Here's why. Here's why. I can just take. I would have never in a million years done that, okay? Why is it winning? Because after rook takes b2, there is a winning idea by white. Try to find it. By black, not by white. There's a winning idea by black. It's -3 only if you find this idea. Otherwise, the position is equal. Very incredible idea. Honestly, incredible idea. Very hard to find. You can pause and try. Here's the winning move. Rook a8. With the intention to go rook a5 and rook g5. And that cannot be stopped. White will have to sacrifice multiple pawns in order to stop that. Probably d5, probably something on f, rook a8, rook a5, rook g5. That is incredible. That is just in the middle of this position to do that. For example, if he plays queen g2, that gives away the back rank. So I play rook a1, and now he's busted. Bishop b1, queen f5, I'm going to win his piece or all his pawns. So, rook b1 only loses to knight b2, rook a, rook a5, rook g5. I didn't see that. I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, I missed the win. Right, so he plays rook b1. I come forward once again. He offers me a queen trade. Now, I play the move knight g5. My intention here was to meet queen takes queen with takes, and if he goes like, king g2, for example, I have this shocking move, and then I'm taking his bishop or fork on the back rank. So I thought knight g5 was very clever. I also thought I'm attacking h3 with check. Now, here apparently Eric can freeze me in my tracks and equalize the position with the move king h1. Very sobering move. If I actually do pick up an extra pawn, he is actually just getting out. Like, even though he's a pawn down, I have no more queens, so I can't really hurt him anymore. And apparently I'm not that much better. He doesn't find king h1. He tries to solve his problems by force with the move h4. And the eval again completely plummets. Because black is completely winning. You might say, how? I don't understand. How is black winning? If knight h3 check, white is actually winning. King f1, and my knight is trapped. My knight is literally just trapped on h3. I can't get out. So, how am I winning? You can try to pause here and find it. I'm winning for a very, very beautiful reason. So remember how knight h3, king f1 is an idea, right? So knight h3, king h1 is not the idea, because then I take on f2 with check and I win everything. It's king f1. I'm winning after h4 because now I take on b2. You say, Levy, what? But okay, and now what? This same idea? No. a different idea. Knight h3 check. What? I'm getting deja vu. I don't understand. Just king f1. Why is this minus 10? Because rook c1 check. I did not see that. The rook is off the back rank. Takes queen d1 mate. Surrounded by all the white pieces. But it's mate. Rook c1. h4, knight takes b2 is the knockout punch. I have all these different ideas at different moments, and I have to find them. But I don't. I miss it after h4. That was my final chance to play this knight takes b2. Instead, I played queen takes, and I played this, and he plays bishop b5. We get a trade, and like I said, you know, a couple of, like, maybe 10 moves ago, black is much better because of the quality of the pieces and everything in the passed pawn. Now I have no queen. Now white is completely fine. White's weakness here is hardly a weakness. He also has a passed pawn, and he starts actually advancing himself. Look at Eric just galloping into my position. I have to be very careful here. So I play rook c5. I hit his bishop. He plays bishop c6, and I'm ready to untangle. So for example, if he plays the move bishop a8, I just get rid of his bishop. So Eric decides to take on b4, offer me a draw, and I say, no, you're no, I agree. I agree because I'm going to take, he's going to take, I'm going to take, and this is a draw. I mean, we could play this for a little bit, but it's rook bishop 3 versus rook knight 3, and that's it. We drew the game. I missed a handful of chances. I actually, to be honest with you, I probably never even thought I could win this game. If I know anything about myself, you know, nerves in my over-the-board career, particularly when I'm playing higher-rated players, I was always kind of very bad at putting the nail in the coffin. I had games where I was able to do it and hold my nerves, but in general, I'm kind of, sometimes at the critical moments, especially when time is running low, I struggle, but I feel like that's common for a lot of, you know, competitive players that have yet to reach the Grandmaster title. And even when they do, because then there's a level of Grandmaster above those Grandmasters. So I had a couple of chances in this game, a complex fight for sure, but a game that ends in a draw. And like I said, we had one other game. There's a lot of noises outside today. Maybe they're throwing a parade for this video. So that's the story of how Eric Rosen and I played a game for the first time in the year 2012 over the board in Rockville, Maryland. And maybe he will find the game that we played in Chicago and make a sequel. Hope you enjoyed, folks. Let me know in the comments if you did. And I will see you in the next video that I make. Get out of here.